Yes. Mhm. Okay. Good afternoon and welcome to Flashpoint. And I'm David Cote. We're here today at the home of the Honorable Dan um, Tokamawan Saryee, the Director General of LAGRA. We just thought to have a special interview with him today at his home, November 6th. Welcome to Flashpoint, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Cote.
Okay.
It has always been a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you. Well, we called you at a short notice, and thank you for accepting this invitation to your home. And thank you for the warm hospitality since we've been here.
Thank you.
All right. Now, you are the head of LAGRA. Now, tell me what LAGRA really is. We just hear LAGRA. Tell me, explain what does that acronym mean, LAGRA?
Well, the Liberia Agricultural Commodity Regulatory Authority, LAGRA, replaced the defunct LPMC
Oh, I see.
after long years of conflict. LPMC became insolvent at some point, and the government of Liberia saw the need to make sure that commodities, key commodity, cash crops in our country are regulated. And because of the experience and history of FPMC, government thought that there was a need to replicate FPMC by establishing LAGRA. The Act of LAGRA was passed in 2016, and LAGRA became active in 2018 during the WEA administration. So LAGRA is responsible to regulate key cash crops, including cocoa, coffee, oil palm, and other commodities.
Okay. I was just about to ask you for the mandate of LAGRA. You have just said, well, can you elaborate a little bit more? The mandate of LAGRA actually.
Well, beyond regulations, LAGRA has a mandate to help farmers to trade in their commodities, giving them access to both local and international markets. LAGRA has mandate to make sure that commodities are handled in a standardized way, and that the entire value chain of the cocoa, the coffee, and oil palm are regulated so that these commodities are harvested and processed in a standardized manner to be able to have the value that they need to have to be able to compete with other countries that are also selling these same commodities in the international market. And beyond that, LAGRA has also a mandate to make sure that there's food security in our country, making sure farmers are supported, working with cooperatives to ensure that there are quality control in the way they do harvesting, from harvest to the entire handling of commodities up to export. So these are key mandates that LAGRA bring to the table.
How does LAGRA differ from that of the Ministry of Agriculture? What's the difference?
Well, the Ministry of Agriculture, I mean, in my understanding, especially with the changing times and considering all of these different sector agencies that are now coming, the Ministry of Agriculture should focus on policy, looking at policies that help to grow most of our food, our cash crops, and so forth. Developing policies, doing working with CARI to make sure that research is done on what region produces this particular kind of crops best and so forth. Where does it grow? What kind of policies that need to be taken into considerations considering the emerging threat of climate change across the community. Then these commodity like agencies like LAGRA are the implementation arm of the ministry to engage with farmers to ensure our produce are managed efficiently to make sure that we gain access to the greater market so that our farmers can sell the produce and make the optimal benefit and value that they should make in order to survive and have a good livelihood.
Two questions into one. How long have you been at LAGRA as the head or director general? That's number one. And what can you boast of as your signature achievement since you've been director general?
Well, I've been in LAGRA for the last
3 months.
And since my takeover, we have done a lot of reform with administration. We noticed that everything at LAGRA was done manually. We've introduced technological transformation. Work is now being done mostly through technology. When we got there was no internet, and so I worried when I got there. How do I work? How do I ask my staff to work? But today we are lucky that we have a complete Wi-Fi system within LAGRA. We are now pioneering in the country to make sure that we lead on developing traceability system for our country, for our farmers. Markets, particularly the European markets, are very concerned. In fact, demanding that every produce that enters Europe must have an origin and must be documented. In our collaborations with international development partners, we've been able to secure an app that will help our farmers to make sure that we can track the origin of their produce and so forth. There is a key challenge that many farmers have had because EUDR has become a very critical issue that was threatening the future and the happiness of our farmer. EUDR is a European, I call it deforestation compliance that you must meet as a country, managing some of the kind of crops that we manage before you can enter the European market. We succeeded in having a system that our farmers will have. By the end of this year, we're going to be piloting that in Lofa. We were able to also secure some of the funding that is needed to start some of the foundational work. Like, for example, we need a current forest cover map. We secured the funding from the European Union, and we've asked that FDA take the lead on that because FDA manages the forest. Um, we've been asked by sector groups that we've spoken with that we should lead the overall national traceability system, and we are working on that assiduously with our European counterpart to do that, and that we are happy to make sure that we get this done. So far, since we came, many of our governmental agency, acquired properties and no properties were not deeded. Today, as we speak, our Bond County property is now being deeded, and that's a significant gain so far in doing that. In Lofa, we have just concluded arrangement as well with the family that provided property processes about how to get the survey done. Right now, we've engaged a land authority representation in Lofa to do that. So we've had that done. We have developed our overall strategic plan, which should be released very shortly. We are working with other agencies in the next couple of weeks and so forth. We should be procuring tractors and other machinery and tools that our staff will use for quality control and basic monitoring services that are required to help our farmers to grow in their activity. So significantly, we've done some of the foundational issues that are required to make sure that LAGRA gets to the next level.
Okay. Then let me ask you this question. I know you are there for a very long time because good player don't fight for Chelsea. And once you're doing very well under this administration, you're going to be. But what are your plans for the next 5 years?
Well, our focus is the poor farmers, those who play with the soil, and at the end of the day, they still live in the dungeon of poverty. Those who work the soil, and sometimes because there is no proper regulations, um, they harvest their produce and give them to people who benefit most. Um, those who also come to use our soil and work with our people, and there is no proper regulation to make sure that those who they work with, our people who they give jobs to, don't benefit in the way they should. We are aligning our program in a way that we will make sure that farmers benefit most. And because farmers should benefit most, we are concentrating our program towards making sure that we work with cooperatives. Cooperative are the embodiment of our farmers. This is where people who play with the soil every day, this is where they are organized to work in. Our work with them will be done through the CDA, which is the Cooperative Development Agency. We've acquired a list of up to 100 cooperatives so far. We are reviewing that list. We do realize that the biggest problem within cooperative is internal governance system. It's not intact, it's not structured. The next thing is access to resources. So our way of working with them to make sure that they become active participants in the agricultural sector is to make sure that beginning next year, most of the local buyers that we have, they're going to be coming from cooperatives. So that cooperatives will be able to gradually grow and become exporters in the long run. Imagine if you can have a cooperative that can export in a year and generate probably $1 million or $2 million. That community automatically become a wealthy community. And this is what we promise we're going to be doing in the next couple of years in terms of our engagement. That is the visions that underscore the pillar one of President Boaga's government. And this is the way we want to do it because he knows that their farmers should have optimum benefit with what they do. So for the next year, bulk of our work is providing quality control support through our extension workers. We intend to also make sure that we have how they call it, platform set up across the country, um, um, mechanizations hubs that we want to set up across 4 key counties that we are focusing right now, and they include Gabon, that's Nima, that's Nigeria, and Lofa. In those places, we are now setting in place our teams. We are defining system that will be put in place there. We want to make sure that we can have firm system in place that will support farmers concretely for basic transformation, for improving their livelihood, for improving farming system, and for empowering them to have access to the market.
Who do you report to? The president, the legislature, or to the Ministry of Agriculture? And besides that, are you working hand in hand with the Agriculture Ministry?
Well, we have a board, and the board supervises our operations. Um, Depending on the inquiries that we receive, we share also what we do with the legislature. Um, the Ministry of Agriculture is the sector head. We are hoping going forward that coordination will improve so that sector agencies will not continue to feel marginalized or strangulated in some of the ways things happen. I'm hopeful that indeed, with the kind of conversations that we are having, we're going to get to that level so that the Ministry of Agriculture plays that leadership role to provide policies while sector agencies that are supposed to implement go on with their implementations without any form of strangulations or marginalizations and so forth. But I think the future is different.
What is your working relationship with your staff and the entire entity?
Well, we are a team builder. When we got Allegra was in a critical state of chaos, confusion all over the place. Staff are basically on social media, and no one will understand each other. Management team were divided and so forth. But since we got there, Lagra is still. We have no noise of that nature. Um, we have strict plan in place now to see how we can start to do capacity building. In fact, trainings are now going on. We just held one training, two different training, one in Nima, one in Monrovia. We are planning another two with the support of some of our partners, UNIDO. We got activities that are also going on to build staff capacity, build them to train them to become more productive. So a lot is going on, and we enjoy the support and the cooperation of our staff.
What is your overall assessment about this administration under the leadership of President Boakai? Your overall assessment.
Well, I mean, this is a responsible administration,
Yeah.
and that can be explained by the kinds of decisions that are made relative to getting the country to another level. I think our overall international image is getting brighter. For the first time, we have a visa system that will go for 3 years. That is a support for the country. I listened to the president just a few weeks ago. He's saying our resources will benefit Liberian people, and you can see the kinds of actions that have been taken. You have new authorities being established. For example, the carbon authority. You have the railway. These are all signs that tell you that this administration knows what it came to power to do. It is not guessing. It is doing things that will alleviate transportation constraints. It is doing things that will alleviate food insecurity. It is doing things that will promote young people to become capacitated. It is working towards improving technology in every sector. You listen to radio, everybody is saying what they're going to be doing. Our water system has become very, very regular to a great extent, unless there are isolated incidents of disruptions in our main transmission lines. Our electricity is regular everywhere and so forth. And beyond that, you can see responsible plans and actions in order to back the system up with solar technology now being introduced in almost every county. In Lofa, a plant is being built in Sino. Some are being built in Grand Cru. The announcement that some will be built. This is something that is incomparable to what we've seen in the last 2 years. And one must understand that all of what we expect will not happen just at the same time. But when you see the progress, it tells you that you could be the next beneficiary that will benefit and be proud of your area. I know we still have issues to deal with relative to creating jobs and so forth, but to create jobs in a country that was already flat on the floor,
some people will say to you that that is an understatement, flat on the floor.
I mean,
they will want you to say it was already buried.
The country that was already, let me use the word, the country that was already buried. The economy was doomed. Institutions were perishing. Roads were closed. Imagine visiting your own country. You're using you're detouring and going through Africa to go to your own country and so forth. Can you imagine that? So I mean, what we see now in terms of improvement, in terms of policy positions of this government, is incomparable to what we've seen in the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Well, is there anything that within, actually we have gone to the 30 minutes mark now, is there anything that we did not actually like to talk about before we close up?
Well, I'd like to close basically on Lagra. Lagra is close to my heart. Mm-hmm. And you know, you carry a huge weight when you are seated in a seat that the president was in before.
Yes.
And so I know
when it was
I have to do it, when it was LPMC. So I know how much we need to do. And that's why my team and myself, we're doing things that will take agriculture to another level. I was on the telephone this morning with CDA Registrar General. We are both in Lofa trying to talk to farmers, giving them the assurance that indeed things will change. Programs are on our way to transform their conditions and their life and so forth. All we can say is in the sector, we need collaboration. We must coordinate. The sector ministry is our lead ministry. We look forward to building that collaboration, to building that network. And I will close also finally that I'd like to say thank you to the LRA. Yesterday, we had a very important meeting around issues that were building tension across many parts of the country, especially where our farmers, our local cocoa buyers, were claiming that in the middle of communities and city, there were taxes being levied on cocoa that were moving away on suspicion that the cocoa was from the Cote d'Ivoire and so forth. We had a successful meeting with the commissioners responsible at the LRA, and that matter was resolved. No more will custom officers arrest any of our farmers' cocoa along the way in the town while they are bringing it to the market and so forth. So we want to say thank you again to the LRA for that responsible decision and so forth. Let this not mean to our farmers that we are bringing cocoa from any foreign country that they're not going to pay their taxes. At the entry point, when you are crossing, you got to pay your taxes. That the taxes that you're supposed to pay to the government of Liberia. Within inland and so forth, there will be no arrest. There will be no disruptions of your cocoa when you are bringing it to the market. So we want to say thank you. In this coming year, we'll work more seriously with you and with the cooperative to ensure that you get the full benefit of your labor. And at that point, oil palm will be also very, very, very highlighted in our operations. We have not played a major role in regulating the oil palm, but this time around, coming this year, we will be very active in the regulations of oil palm. Thank you.
I want to say thanks to you too for accepting us in your home abruptly on a very short notice.
Thank you.
It was yesterday that we talked. You said, "Come, my brother," and I'm glad I'm here.
But Dave, you've been a decent man.
Thank you for your warm hospitality.
Thank you.
And we will hope to meet you again, but this time at your office, and talk a little more.
Thank you.
But thank you very much for the short time. We have been in conversation with the Honorable Dan Saryee. I just the middle name again. I like the name.
Dan Tokumawa. Meaning war is difficult.
War is difficult, so
Yeah.
don't start in a war. So thank you very much for the time, and those of you who have been watching, and thank you very much. Please share the show. Thank you.